Welcome to the Technaesthetic podcast. I'm your host, Eric, and this is Randy. Welcome to week 3, episode 3 of the podcast. We got a couple cool topics for you today. We got Samsung removes ads from native apps on Android. Interesting. We got a T-Mobile data breach to talk about. We got the M1X Macbooks rumored coming in November. We got Windows 11 discussion, and we want to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. So
hitting the bargain bin, dude.
Bargain bin, dude. Not surprised. Let's talk about the first topic. Samsung removes ads from their native apps. For those that aren't aware, Samsung has included ads in their native apps for some time. I know we just, we were rocking Samsung phones prior, and if you were using any of the Samsung apps, they were not afraid to run ads, not run ads, but have like banner type ads in their apps. So what do you got to say about this?
For some time. It's kind of a big change for me. It's a big deal. As someone who, spends $1,000 and up on a phone or a device, it's unfortunate when you see ads in your native apps on your phone. Like, imagine those of you who have an iPhone out there and opening up Apple Weather and seeing an advertisement for sneakers, because that's the reality on the Samsung Weather app up until now.
Yeah, up until now. So it's kind of nuts because I'm the same. Like, if I pay for something, I absolutely hate ads, embedded. True. And this goes for anything, like not just apps, but like video games. Like video games have been guilty of this as well. Like you buy a AAA title, you spend like $60, maybe you buy the deluxe $70, and now they're throwing ads in the games. Like they're kind of sneaking them in too. They're putting them in billboards in games and other things, and like that kind of is just I don't like it.
Yeah, I can feel you on that one. When I was younger and like I would see ads for like Mountain Dew in video games, I was like, oh, that's cool. It adds a level of realism.
Yeah, some games it's not so bad.
It's like, I know what you're doing there.
For the most part, like ads just kind of make me mad at this point. Like I'm kind of triggered. They do. I'm somebody that in my browser, I run like the uBlock Origin plugin, the extension.
I think we both have Pi-holes as well.
And we run Pi-holes. So if you don't have a DNS black hole, Pi-hole is awesome, right?
Fantastic.
It basically is like an ad block for your whole house. So I run Pi-hole. I love it. So I'm kind of like trying to get ads out of my life, So the fact that Samsung kind of like put them in their apps, just like, it just kind of felt crappy. Like you go from an iPhone, right? And Apple's really good. They don't advertise to you like at all. Nowhere. No. To me, it's just like going from like an iPhone to Samsung. It's like, oh God, like this, it just makes me upset.
Yeah, a little bit. But, having a Samsung television, and I know you have some Samsung other products as well, I'm kind of hoping that they'll kind of follow suit, where like the phone may be the first step.
Yeah.
And then, they may realize that people who spend $5,000 plus on a television probably don't need to see an ad.
I'm glad you brought that
Samsung
up, dude.
TV.
Isn't that stupid that their TVs, like, so I have a Samsung TV, but I can't really, I turn off all the smart features because I know as soon as you turn on the smart features on the TV, that's when you'll get the ads and stuff. Like you have to agree to their terms of service and all this other stuff, and then they'll serve you ads. But if you're just like, no, I don't want to use your smart TV functions, I'll use it like in an Apple TV, or like you'll buy an NVIDIA Shield or a Chromecast or something, you can, bypass that stuff. But the fact that if you want to use Samsung smart features, you're going to get their ads.
That's a really good point too, and I personally use an Apple TV because for multiple reasons. One, bit rate, but most importantly, my entire library is there.
Yeah.
And for those of you who have a Samsung TV, I can speak to this because it's what I use personally. If you opt out of the smart features on the television, you also opt out of software updates as well, but only over-the-air software updates.
Ridiculous.
So what you can do is you can go online and just put on a USB drive and then upload your TV and update your TV that way.
Yeah.
So if you're someone like me who absolutely hates ads, there are workarounds out there to kind of alleviate the headaches that ads give you.
I'll say this though, when it comes to mobile ads, like you'd think Pi-hole would be better at blocking like Android ads and stuff. Like a lot of ads on Android are going through Google, right? So you'd think like, okay, my Pi-hole has all this stuff in there to block them, but like they still somehow manage to worm their way in. Like I don't know if they're bypassing DNS or what.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
I've alleviated most of them by doing registry tweaks on Pi-hole.
Okay.
I did find a way because I'm a big, as you probably know from the previous episodes, I love my iPad and it is my life companion, and one of the main reasons why I
it's
do
your
like
baby,
that,
dude.
Yeah, dude. Like one of the main reasons why I like that is Apple News. Apple News has ads in it, believe it or not. Paid subscription, $9.99 a month. Apple News still has third-party advertisements all over it. You can block those with Pi-hole. If I view Apple News from my house, it's the cleanest news experience you'll ever get. And if anyone's interested, I can send Eric what you had to Pi-hole to block ads in Apple News.
That's nutty, dude. I didn't know you could do that. So yeah, I mean, you can, a lot of times, if you have control over DNS, you can do stuff, you can block stuff. If you run extensions, like you block Origin or similar, you can block ads. But a lot of times, if they're embedded into apps, yeah, unless you're running a DNS black hole of some sort, like they're going to get you. And, Samsung, I mean, this is a good move, because, like, were they really getting revenue from these ads? Like, I don't know, probably not. Not like a ton of revenue. So, like, to me, it's a big deal. Like, it's just like a huge thing. Like, if they're gonna compete with Apple, they got to respect their customers like Apple does in that respect. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does. It totally does. I mean, coming back full circle, as someone who doesn't like ads, every time I picked up or purchased a Samsung phone, the first thing I would do is find a different weather app. Not because Samsung weather was bad or gave me false information. It was literally just ad ridden.
Yeah,
and when you spend $1,200, $1,400, $1,700 on a phone, it's kind of a bummer to open up a native app that comes on your phone and see and get advertised for it. It's like, didn't you get enough money from me?
Yeah, I really don't tolerate ads. So, like, any of the Samsung apps I rarely would use. Like, I think I used their health app because I had the Galaxy Watch 3.
Yeah.
And, like, it just integrates well with it. But other than that, I was like, I'm not using any of the Samsung apps whatsoever.
Yeah.
In fact, most of the time, like, native apps like that, I consider basically bloat. Like Samsung apps on Samsung phones.
That's a good point.
Even Google apps on Google phones, like, some of them are pretty good, but like, and probably actually decent. But like, even then, like, I'll go for a third party solution. A couple apps, like on the iPhone, I do use their weather app. It's just, I don't know, it's just clean and it doesn't bother me any.
Well, I will tell you right now, if I knew where my phone was, iOS 15. I don't know if you remember going back maybe 2 years now. There used to be a weather app called Dark Sky. With the black background with the
everyone
blue,
liked Dark Sky.
The blue like little raindrop on it.
Yep.
Well, Apple bought Dark Sky, I think back in 2018, 2019. Don't quote me on the year. But they've done nothing with it until iOS 15. So now with iOS 15, they finally have all of the Dark Sky features in app.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
So now if I scroll through here,
you can see all the cool stuff.
All of the cool stuff.
This is different than mine, right? Like,
are
you on the beta?
Yeah, this is iOS 15. So this is totally redone for iOS 15. Yeah. So it has all of those neat features that everyone loved from Dark Sky, just built right in the app now.
It's about time they use that. Like I did use a couple. Have you ever used Carrot before?
I used Carrot. Carrot's pretty accurate. It just looks a little too cartoony for my take.
It is a little bit, but it's kind of charming in that way.
So my go-to for what weather widgets, actually, which I think is even better than the actual weather app that Apple puts out, is Hello Weather. So that's my little widget up there in the top. And then I use the actual Apple Weather app for when I'm looking for more information. So I basically just have Hello Weather for a widget now, and it kind of works pretty well.
That's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, it's one of those things where the default app worked good enough, primarily because they didn't have ads in it.
Yeah, because for the most part, it's like, okay, weather, dude, just tell me what the temperature is. Is it going to rain? Like, what's the 5-day forecast? Yeah. Like, I don't really like
what's
go
the
into it.
Like?
Yeah, exactly. I need to know, like, can I plan my weekend around it? And like, why would I use an app that is going to feed me ads when I could just get like a third party one with ease? That doesn't, and that actually respects me enough to not serve me ads. So it's like, are you really getting a lot of customers that are viewing your app and then looking at ads and then clicking through and like it doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's like, let's just get rid of them, you know?
I think maybe on a subconscious level, maybe, but like I've never been like, what's the weather like on Tuesday? Oh, I need to buy a new belt. Thank you.
Yeah,
you know,
I know,
like that's never happened in my life.
No, so it's a good move. I mean, ads, like, you know, it's just kind of lame that they would even do that. Like a lot of times I would just use, cause you can get like, does Google have their own weather app or what? Like, if you buy like a Pixel, like does Google have?
I'm sure they do. Like, I'm sure they do.
Because a lot of times I'd probably just download whatever Google, because even Google respects you more, and they're a fucking advertising company. Yeah. And they don't even serve as many ads as Samsung does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is hilarious if you think about it. But yeah, I'm glad Samsung's doing this. Like, they really need to, you know, compete with their competitors, being Google and you know, with Google and Apple. So that's a good move.
I mean, it comes down to customer experience, right? So like if they're making a move that betters the customer experience and the user experience, they're only going to pull more customers in. So, you know, someone probably did a lot of market research and took some surveys, actually reviewed the surveys and said, what do you dislike about our phones? And I'm sure ads was probably near the top.
Dude, I got to say something, dude. So I got a Samsung fridge, right? And like one of the cool kind of weird features it has is whenever you open the fridge and shut it on the screen, because it has a screen on my refrigerator, right? Samsung. Sure. It's Samsung's whatever hub, right? And one of the things it does is it pops up little recipes. And you know what's kind of weird is it knows sort of what's in your fridge, and it'll give you recipes sort of around it. If I'm interpreting it correctly, which is kind of neat, you know, I'm like,
that's like, pretty cool.
You know, what can I make out of my, you know, whatever. It's one time it was like, make this thing. And it was like, here's water. I was like, oh, I can make water. But like,
that's pretty cool.
Well, you know, what pissed me off though, was like, it was like, make this Kraft mac and cheese. And it was like, it felt like a Kraft mac and cheese ad was like fed to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't eat Kraft mac and cheese. I don't have any Kraft in my fridge. Why are you giving me?
It's odd that they threw the brand name in there.
Yeah,
you know
that's what I mean. So I was like, I suspected that it was an ad, but I haven't seen it since. So if the moment it serves me a branded item like that, like Kraft mac and cheese, or if it tells me there's something else, I'm gonna be like, is this an ad? If it is, I'm just gonna turn the feature off. But I thought it was like a charming little feature. But then I was
pretty neat, actually.
It is, but I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, a new recipe that I'll never cook. But you know, if they serve me ads via this feature, I'm just gonna disable it. And so Samsung, I just always suspect that they're like, these cool features are cool, but then they have like a motive behind them. You know what I mean? So I just had to bring that up because that's another Samsung kind of thing that, you know, is related to this topic. But yeah, I'm happy they're removing the ads. Hopefully they can do that with everything. TVs, refrigerators, whatever.
Hopefully this is the start of a good thing.
It is.
Ready to move on to our next topic?
Yeah, so the next topic, T-Mobile data breach. So I don't know anything about this, dude. You're going to have to feed me some good info.
Sure.
What's the deets?
So, you know, in kind of a big deal, T-Mobile had a data breach that could have compromised up to 40 million customers of T-Mobile. And I say customers because you're looking at nearly 8 million subscribers, like people who actually have T-Mobile lines.
Yep.
You have 850,000 prepaid subscribers, and just over 40 million people who are customer prospects. But those customer prospects are ones who applied for credit. So declined, accepted. They keep all that information, and that's what got exposed. So for me, you know, the big deal in this data breach is just going through the articles here. The information that was leaked is names, first name, last name, date of birth, social security numbers, and driver's license numbers.
Okay, so this probably applies to the credit people, right? Because they would probably provide that stuff. Okay,
right. But that's the largest chunk, right? That's 40 million prospective customers who've applied for credit with T-Mobile.
Yeah, that's kind of nutty. So a lot of people, you know, they finance their phones, right? Would that be related? I mean, if you finance your phone, does that through T-Mobile, does that count? Would you? Do you think it would?
I would think it would, right? because
that's the whole point, right?
Yeah. So like I subsidize phones through my carrier just because it's 0% APR.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like, why would I give someone $1,000 up front when I can give them $50 a month and then reinvest $950 and, you know, so on and so forth.
Right.
But yeah, I would have to think that anyone who does any sort of device payment plan or device, you know, device contract through T-Mobile is probably affected by this. They even went as far to say that those 850,000 people who were affected from the prepaid section should change their pins immediately because they had their account pins exposed.
Okay, so I mean, that's concerning. So I don't know if you can see this on my phone, but I happen to be a T-Mobile customer myself. And so I don't finance my phones. I typically will pay outright. So I'm not sure if it applies to me as far as like my social being leaked and stuff like that. But if a lot of times,
probably have to look up and see what, because I can't remember honestly the last time I switched carriers or added a line.
Yeah.
But what information carriers gather when you sign up for a line or get a phone line with someone?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I mean, there had to have been some data breached, right? Like. That would be applicable to me. Like, obviously, I wouldn't want people to know this stuff just willy-nilly. And I'd definitely be concerned if my social was out there. So, like, there's a lot of reasons. I wonder if they'll inform their customers that have been affected by the breach. Like, that would be what the typical, that's kind of like your typical thing you do when your customers, you know, have been impacted. Like, you're going to inform them, right? So, I guess I'm going to, like, log into my T-Mobile account and see, like, okay, tell me, like, am I affected? And in what way? If they even know, you know, if they even know. I mean, they would know the extent of it, but they wouldn't really know, you know.
What it says in the article is that if you had a prepaid plan, they are 100% confident that those pins were compromised. Okay, so all 850,000 prepaid customers have already had their pins reset and have been notified.
Okay, great.
But current subscribers and prospecting customers have not been notified.
Yeah.
It seems to me that it's just kind of like a best case practice.
Yeah.
Although T-Mobile did say that they will offer, and I say this, you know, under my breath, gratefully, 2 years free credit monitoring to effective customers. It's like we goofed.
Yeah.
So now you can monitor your credit yourself.
If every company did that, why do I feel like I'd have like forever free data, like credit monitoring? Because I would, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, this is pretty bad. Like, I mean, here's the thing, guys. Like, companies don't really value cybersecurity as nearly as much as they should.
No.
You know, there's you know, when going through my certification process, there's sort of a process companies go through where they weigh the pros and cons and they budget accordingly. So they're like, how much
acceptable
money?
risk policy.
Exactly. So you probably are familiar with it because you're reading up on it, on that stuff right now. But you know, that was one of the things that's like, okay, how much risk is there? How much money do we stand to lose? And then, like, how much would it cost to implement like proper security practices to mitigate the risks? And a lot of companies look at that and they go, it's expensive. And I mean, theoretically, if you never suffer a data breach, you could save a lot of money by not investing in your cybersecurity programs. So you basically, if you spend $0, have zero breaches, like you just made out, right?
Right.
So like a lot of, you know, if you want to roll the dice, go ahead. But like, look at other companies that have been impacted like this and like learn like from their mistakes.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly. So as someone who works for an organization who's helping smaller companies, you know, kind of become a little bit more cyber smart, maybe necessarily not go for an actual, you know, like CMC level or something along those lines. It's a really tough sell because there's no perceived ROI on cybersecurity, right?
Right.
Like there's no
it's not, you don't get a return on investment. You just prevent, like it's to mitigate.
Like this sizable investment gets you no return. Yeah. It just ensures or I don't want to say ensures because then it sounds like there's you know an infallible defense, and that's not the case.
No.
So you know it's almost like,
well,
people have to look at customer retention. You know,
100%.
Like like how much do you as a company value customer retention, and how much of your customers' data are you willing to put at risk? And if you value customer retention and customer loyalty as a metric, I think then cybersecurity may be able to be tied into an ROI.
Right.
Because if something like this happens, I'm sure that they're going to lose some customers over this. It's going to happen.
Yeah, 100%. Like the crazy thing about this
a sizable amount.
Well, that's the thing. You can't really quantify customer retention, right?
Right.
So how are you going to quantify, like, give me number? Like, you can't really make numbers. This is something you have to really guess. And it's really up to a company to realize its value. It's not really something you can explain, like customer loyalty, things like that. Your brand, like your image. These are all things that are hard to really quantify, but have a huge amount of value. Right? Like look at Apple and their brand. Like obviously they care greatly. You can tell they care greatly about their brand. And which is why, they're trying so hard to really, like when we talked about how they're under fire for the privacy stuff, right? They're obviously freaking out on the back end going, well, this is impacting our brand. They're doing that. That's why you had Craig Federighi come out, like he interviewed with, I forget whom, and it tried to calm the public, trying to put out the fires. Put out the fires, right? Like they're going to do that. Companies like T-Mobile and these other companies, like they need to think about that when they are implementing a cybersecurity policy. And a lot of times it's like expense they don't want to do. You know what I mean? It's expensive.
I mean, for me, like, maybe I'm different, right? But like every time I see like Experian now, and they're like they want to give me a credit report, I'm just like Experian law, like they're gonna lose my data again. You know what I mean?
I know.
So like I don't know if I'm in the minority with that, but Experian as a company is pretty much dead to me.
Yeah, I know. When it comes to data, like this is why. Like, I will always give out the least amount of information possible. You can't trust these companies with your data.
No.
If you're giving them social security numbers, addresses, phone numbers, all this stuff, like it can easily get breached. You're literally a database exploit away from losing all that data. You know, SQL injection, bam, like spit out database tables. Now you're in. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. I've seen it. I've seen, like, in my, I have friends that have done some consulting work, and what they've done is they've actually shown, hey, your database is vulnerable here. I can get in. I can modify these tables. I can read from these tables. I have access now. Like, I have, like, rights to this information. And so it's not something that's like hard to do. Like script kiddies can do this stuff now. You can have people there's scripts online for database exploits that people can run if they're so inclined. So you need to be ready for that on the back end. Like people need to think about, and obviously like we're both cybersecurity guys, right? So we're like, oh, invest in cyber. You know what I mean? Obviously we care about it. But like, this is just hard evidence that, people don't really value it as much as they probably should. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. The companies are like, no matter how much we invest, we're still vulnerable. And that's absolutely a fact. So they might use that as an excuse to not really invest that much at all. Because it's like, okay, well, the risks, we're mitigating them a little bit. But if we spend X dollars, like maybe they'll be like, okay, well, we're diminishing returns, you know what I mean, when it comes to cybersecurity. So they might be like, well, we'll invest, a reasonable amount. And that might be what T-Mobile did. Like, I can't really hate on them specifically because I don't really know what their cybersecurity policy is. But you would think as a major provider that you would be, you live and breathe on the internet. You would think like you would care more than most, if not like a majority, about cybersecurity, and you would have like a really lock solid program.
Well, one thing I will say, and you can back me up on this, is was this data not even encrypted? I see no mention of it anywhere.
Well, that's a good point, man. I mean, data sitting on a server somewhere absolutely should be encrypted, right?
Right. And then if that key was stored elsewhere, would we be in this situation right now?
Well, see, I have they released any details? A lot of times they don't.
Nope.
A lot of times they don't. They keep this stuff close to
No,
close to their chests.
It says right here, the investigation into the breach began after Vice reported on Sunday that hackers were offering T-Mobile customer data for sale on the dark web. On the following Monday, T-Mobile confirmed a cybersecurity incident, but offered no further details and plans not to.
Okay. The dark web, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking the
not
dark
to be confused
web.
with the light web.
Yeah, no. Yeah. The dark side of the web. But yeah, dude, that's kind of nutty. I mean, hopefully T-Mobile turn it around. You know, they invest in cybersecurity programs. I think it's, you know, a bigger deal now more than ever, like cybersecurity. And companies need to invest, you know.
Yeah.
You know, they need to pay for professionals. They need to have people certified and trained. They need to have proper equipment, proper firewalls. They need to lock down their databases. They need to, I mean, that's the thing. If, you know, there's multiple ways to breach data. If their databases were encrypted, then it shouldn't have been skimmed. If they had proper privileges and good password policies, it shouldn't have been cracked. But like, here's the thing: like, there's vulnerabilities everywhere,
right.
And there's even 0 days. So, you know, like, you could feel as locked down as possible, and then somebody comes out with a new exploit and gets you. You know what I mean? So I don't know how robust T-Mobile's cybersecurity program is, but I don't know. I have a hunch it's not as good as it should be.
Yeah.
I've known people that worked for banks and have had bad cybersecurity for a bank, dude. Like, what?
Bizarro world, right?
Yeah, it's like, are you kidding me? But yeah, pretty interesting stuff. I mean, T-Mobile is just another target that got hit, dude. Who's next, dude? Who do we bet?
They're coming.
They coming. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that topic. Let's see what's next on the agenda, my dude. MacBooks coming in November. I'm excited about this topic, dude.
I'm really excited.
So this is
topic.
Obviously, you know, asterisk whatever rumor mill, right? But M1X Macbooks. We don't know if it'll be called M1X, but the idea is new MacBooks. New MacBooks are coming, and they're going to have new chips that aren't the M1. So the fantastic M1 chip came out, what, last year? And
last November.
Yeah. And it was, you know, completely fantastic. And now you have all kinds of M1 devices, from the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro, the M1 iPads.
iPad 11 and 12.
The freaking Mac Mini, the iMacs, and, you know, who knows what's next. But what we really want to see is the next iteration.
M1 all the things.
M1 all the things, which is, they're pretty close. They haven't M1 like a Mac Pro yet, which, you know, M1X, like, you know, if they're talking about M1X MacBooks, you're probably talking, what, like 16 inches? That's the big boy, or do you think that
maybe we'll see a 14?
You know,
that would be my hope.
That was a rumor. I did see the rumored 14-incher, and honestly, that's like a good size. Like, the 13
Great
is
size.
A good size.
I love my 13.
But, like, I feel like if I had a little bit more power, you know, and then 14-inch, like, I feel like it wouldn't really compromise on its portability enough to, like, make, like, where I wouldn't get it. Because I love the 13, right? And, like, I don't want to go back to a 16 because it was just kind of a chonker, you know what I mean?
I think where we'll see a difference is it probably comes down to power draw.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they can hit the battery life targets they want to hit while pushing more cores, we may see a 14.
So, like, a 14 would give you more battery, which is good. So, like
well, I think the casing size will be similar. They'll just push out the bezels, kind of like they did on the 15 and the 16.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think that if we see an M1X 14, it'll be dependent on the power target of the M1X, and if they can get comparable battery life, because, you know, like, now we're talking, you know, these PCBs are tiny, like tiny on ARM. I mean, I don't know if anyone's seen online or if Eric can pull it up quick, but what the PCB looks like inside the Mac Mini, because they're still using the old housing from when they used Intel chips, and it's like 80% empty. So that obviously gives them more room for battery, right? So I think that the only advantage the larger chassis has now is probably in the battery department.
All right, so I have an image here that might be the M1 MacBook Air. So I'm going to pull it up.
Oh, yeah, that's fine too. Yeah.
So, I mean, because the Air and the Pro are literally the same, except one has active cooling. So, like, literally this top right corner, which is a tiny sliver of the board. Like, this isn't even, like, 20% of the board. It's like, that's the main board. Like, are you kidding me?
Mind-blowing, isn't it?
It's kind of, yeah, it's itty-bitty. So, I mean, the whole board, like, you know, obviously that's the M1. So the M1X, you know, it's going to target, obviously, more power. I know personally what I want out of the M1X, right? I feel like the CPU is pretty good. I want to see GPU cores. I want to see more GPU grunt out of the M1X, personally. Yeah.
Okay.
Because, like, here's, for me, it's about, you know, the funny thing is, even though Macs aren't really the best gamers, I kind of like how gaming is on the M1. Like, I love
it. It's actually crazy to me. Like,
yeah, it's
like,
pretty
as someone
good.
who plays WoW, but I'll never admit that. I mean, I can play WoW on my M1 MacBook for 5 hours unplugged.
100%, dude. Like it's good. It's really good. Like, the fact that you can play games, integrated graphics on the M1 is actually pretty stellar. Like very stellar.
You can go to a coffee shop on a Sunday morning and pound out your WoW dailies at Starbucks for 2.5 hours, and not even think about bringing the charger with you.
That's what's nutty. Like, honestly, I was saying this when I was, you know, I did a lot of evaluation of the M1, you know, from a performance perspective, from a gaming perspective, because, you know, I would game on the 16-inch MacBook Pro. This is before the M1, right? And then I had to decide, do I upgrade to the M1? Because I'm used to, like, x86. I'm used to what the Intel i9.
Sure.
And I'm,
for me,
you know,
my biggest fear to jump to M1 was to lose boot camp.
Yeah, I know. That's another thing. And, you know, boot camp, that was the one thing that, you know, that was great about the 16-inch, is I had the i9 and it had dedicated graphics, and I could boot camp it. So I did run boot camp, and on occasion I was able to play games that were Windows exclusive. Can't do that anymore, unfortunately, but, you know, pros and cons. The Mac OS on M1 is just a fantastic device.
It really is.
And the games that you can make work, like, people have made, like, a lot of games work with crossover and other technologies, and they've used, like, they've run Windows in a VM, and it's been pretty good. And so, like, if you can work around those compromises, like the gaming experience, and if you have games that are native, even just games that were Mac supported, but they're not M1, they're like just x86.
Rosetta translated.
Yeah, even Rosetta translated games ran better on the M1.
It blows my mind when software goes through a translation layer and somehow runs better.
It did. So, like, I have a lot of games that are CPU dependent, RimWorld being my favorite one. And when I can run RimWorld through the translation layer and get higher FPS than on my i9 MacBook Pro 16-inch, that's nuts.
Right.
You know, I was like, oh my gosh, my frame rate is better. Like, this is running the game better. Like, that's pretty nutty. Like, obviously, if I'm playing World of Warcraft with dedicated graphics on the 16-inch, it was better, because the dedicated graphics, it did have more grunt, but the battery life would last less than an hour on dedicated graphics. And don't even get me started on the poor performance of Intel integrated graphics. It might be better in 2021, but, like, it's nothing compared to what, like, an M1 can do. So I know personally, out of the, if they come out with an M1X, dude, I'm super pumped to see the graphics performance, because theoretically, you know, right now you have 8 cores, 8 GPU cores. They throw in 16, dude, you're doubling performance. It's already really good. I mean, obviously your thermals are going to go up, your power draw is going to go up, but with the increased battery life of a 14-inch device, because it's going to have more battery space, you might be able to compensate for that extra draw. Yeah. And, you know, the heat increase, that's probably the only thing you'd maybe notice. But, you know, they probably have a little bit of a beefier cooling on the 14 or 16 or whatever. So hopefully you can compensate for that. Because there's, you know, one thing that we enjoy right now in the 13-inch MacBook Pros is great thermals. Like, the fans barely kick on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even when gaming. So it's kind of funny, like, if you think about it. The real question about the M1X, though, is whatever it comes out in, dude, are you going to get it? That's the real... That's the real question, dude. Are you gonna get it?
No.
No, you're gonna stick with the 13.
I'm gonna stick with the 13.
Okay, that's a bold statement coming from you, dude. The guy that reordered the Z Fold 3.
Hey.
Freaking. Dude, you're gonna get the whatever. Dude, the M1X. Here's what's gonna happen, dude. I'm calling it now. It's gonna come out, dude. Like performance numbers, dude. People are gonna be blowing their minds on YouTube, dude. And then you're gonna be like instantly buying it. I'm telling you, dude. You're gonna. People,
yeah, you're probably right.
They're gonna be like, "Oh my god, these numbers, dude. They did it. They fucking doubled the performance, the graphics performance. It's unbelievable, dude." People are gonna be like, "You can play fucking." You know, it sucks because like this thing would be a beast gamer if it had like actually games that could run on it other than World of Warcraft. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, dude, give me some games on the Mac, dude, because it's such a like really powerful device, dude. I want to see the M1X just smash it, dude. I hope it does.
Dang.
But yeah, let's move on, dude. Like, so we just talked about it. We just touched on it. Randy pre-orders Z Fold 3 again.
Yeah, dude, I did it.
Dude, so this is hilarious.
Not proud of it.
I was listening to our podcast that we did last week, and to hear you talk about like, oh, I can't do it, and here's the reasons, and then like to hear you now, you sound like a different person, dude. What happened, dude?
I got sucked into the hype, dude.
Dude, the hype train, dude, you never stepped off, dude. You wanted to.
I mean, true.
You tried.
So, I guess for me, you know, the Z Fold is the pinnacle of a phone.
Wow.
You know?
Bold
and
statement.
Bringing it back full circle to kind of what I talked about last week, about me saying I don't even know where my phone is.
Right.
That holds true of my current setup. So I was planning on buying the iPhone 13 in September with the new watch. And I was like, I'm literally buying the same phone that I'm so bored with. I don't even know where it is half the time because I'm so bored with it.
Okay.
Because Apple will sell me the same phone again, which I will gladly buy for like 3 years in a row.
Okay.
And
I see you.
When it comes down to it, really, I'm buying the iPhone and same with the iPhone for the ecosystem.
Right.
And I'm not buying it for the hardware. I'm not buying it for the form factor. I'm not buying it because I'm excited to get it. I'm buying it because I'm sucked into their software package.
Which is pretty good.
It's great. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's fantastic. So, you know, did some more digging, did some more research, and not giving up my iPad, but giving up my Apple Watch. I think that Samsung has finally reached a happy medium where I can live in a world where I use an iPad and have an Android device. Okay. And part of the reason why that is because they have decided to partner with Google and put Wear OS on the watch.
Yeah, so the watch, obviously, you know, that was one of the things when I was initially going to get the Z Fold 2. The watch, you know, the Apple Watch was such a like important device for me because I really do love the Apple Watch. Like I use the fitness features. I like the workout tracking and the calories and stuff. So like to leave that and then go to a different platform, I was really worried. Right. And it was bad. It was bad before. Now I've watched some reviews recently. I know The Verge put out a Galaxy Watch 4 review earlier today, I think, and I watched it. You know, they basically was like, yeah, this is much better. Like this is actually this is like a great option, especially if you're a Samsung user. So
yeah, so for me, one of the biggest complaints I had in the past, and what ultimately made me want to get back, back to the iPhone was. So for those of you who don't know, Samsung's watches ran their own operating system called Tizen. So if you wanted to send and receive text messages on your watch, you had to use Samsung Messenger on your phone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But if you use Samsung Messenger on your phone, Google has this really neat infrastructure out where you can just go to messages.google.com and you can now text from any device you're on, which is a great feature, right? So like if you're at work,
fantastic feature.
And you want to go and you don't want to, actually it's a productivity increase, right? Because if I get a text message and my phone goes off, I pick up my phone and look at it. If I can just tab over to a web browser, see what it is, and decide to respond from there without having to like take my hands off the keyboard and mouse,
right,
I'm going to be more productive. And like that's a big draw for me, right? So then I was in this weird situation where do I want that functionality to text from any device, or do I want to use my watch? And that's a tough decision to make. Like, no one wants to buy the watch and then not be able to use it. And alternatively, no one wants to lose that functionality to text from whichever device they have in their hand. So now that Google's watches run Wear OS, I can just run Google Messenger on my phone, which will in turn relay messages to my watch, which will in turn allow me to create a shortcut on my iPad that goes to messages.google.com, and I will now have my text functionality from my iPad.
Yep.
So in a kind of a roundabout way, I feel like I'm going to get the phone I want with the main functionality I want from my devices.
Yeah. So you found ways to compensate for losing the Apple features that you've enjoyed.
Not all of them, but a major one.
Yeah.
So,
well, the nice thing about being dual ecosystem is you can play with the best of both worlds, right?
Right.
So like you're not really losing iOS apps. You have your iPad, dude.
True.
And you know, like, so you can use like apps that you enjoy that iOS have,
like Apollo.
Like Apollo, and you know, you get that on your iPad. And then like if you want to mess around with cool Android apps, like, you know, maybe you want to play with an emulator or mess around with whatever they got, you got the Play Store on your Fold. So that's kind of cool, you know.
And you know, just touching on gaming briefly, you know, I'm a big Blizzard fan, big Diablo fan.
Yeah.
Diablo Immortal is coming out soon, and that is going to be so good on the Fold.
It'll be the best way to play it, basically. Yeah. I mean, the iPad will be good too. But
yeah. Well, but again, the iPad doesn't fit in my pocket, right? Like that's the appeal of the Fold. So like if I go somewhere and like I just want to bang out a game real quick, or just, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, it's going to be unreal. On the Fold's display, and like we didn't even talk about the display, and a lot of stuff came out, you know, last week about it, saying how good it was. It's like brighter, it's more power efficient. Like that's awesome to me. So you know, the display is just going to be like so good, and now you don't have that pinhole camera, the punch out camera. So it's just going to be awesome. It's going to be a pleasure to do anything content consumption wise, gaming included. I'm just shocked that you did it, dude. Like, I was like, there's no way he's going to go with the, and if you did do anything, I thought you would do the Flip. So what made you do the Fold?
The Flip is cool on paper and it's cool in your hand. But the Fold is practical, and that's really what it comes down to, right? Like if I lived in a perfect world and I could say, you know, I'm going to a black tie affair. I'm going to take my Flip because it looks awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, dude.
And it's just so satisfying to flip it open and then hang up on people just by, you know, closing the clamshell. But its practicality for me ends there. You know, I would recommend the Z Flip to any single normal person looking for a phone, and I say normal because you don't want to spend $1,700 plus on a phone. I think the Z Flip is a great world to be in. You know, just coming down to usability. I was talking to you about getting the smaller iPhone this time around, and the Fold kind of does that for me.
Okay.
And let me explain. So part of the reason why I think the Fold experience is really nice is because the cover display is slender. And some people may view that as a con, but for me, you know, if I'm not going to unfold, I'm using it with one hand.
Honestly, that's the coolest thing. Like the fact that it's thin like that and being able to use it one-handed, that's huge, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So to me, it's kind of like a device that was designed with usability first, while also being cool as hell. So you have the situations where, okay, what would make a phone better suited for one-handed use? Make it narrower so you can reach across the screen for your keyboard. What would make a screen better for two-handed use? Make it unfold into a 7.6-inch display. You know, I feel like they kind of have that usability form factor down. One thing I am going to have to work on is, unfortunately, I take a lot of notes. I'm a big Apple Pencil fan.
Okay,
so I think that for like my serious note taking, I'm still going to probably rely on GoodNotes and my Apple Pencil, because writing on on the iPad and the Apple Pencil combo is just it's excellent.
Yeah, 100%.
But one thing I do want to try to explore is maybe looking at OneNote, because I know OneNote will sync between devices. So that may be an avenue I explore when I get my Z Fold, to see if I could transition away from GoodNotes.
Yeah, you know what I use,
OneNote.
dude? It's not as good as OneNote. I use the Synology Note.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because like it works. There's an app on both platforms. Sure. And there's some features that it doesn't have, but it does, you know, it serves its function for me. So I don't think that you'll love it as much as like even OneNote, but the fact that you're kind of already running it, it might be something that you'd be interested in. Yeah. You can get to it in the browser and stuff too, which is nice. But there are apps on both platforms, and there's a app on Windows also. So yeah, it's not bad. I do use that. But yeah, I mean, OneNote, you know, there's third-party options that you could look at. I think Evernote way back in the day was like a big one. I don't know if it is relevant in 2021, but you know.
What was that, Evernote? No,
yeah,
I haven't heard that.
That was like that's like the old.
That's a name I haven't heard in some years.
Yeah, that was the oldie but goodie back in the day, and then like people started to build in their own note-taking stuff, and then OneNote and all these other competitors came out. So I don't know if it's relevant nowadays, but there's options. There's always options.
Always.
But, you know, I'm interested to know, you know, the one problem I have with the Note app with Evernote, or not Evernote, but the Synology one, is like you want to do cool stuff. Like if you're using if you have an Apple Pencil, or you're using in Samsung's case, the Z Pen thing, S Pen, sure. You want to be able to like jot notes down like very easily and seamlessly with whatever note app you use, and then have it synchronized. So if you find a solution, because I feel like when it comes to note taking with any kind of pen device, that's where Synology kind of falls flat. It's really just for typing. So if you can find a solution, like let me know, because I'm in the market for one now that I'm going to be using an S Pen.
Right.
And, you know, I want to utilize the S Pen.
Yeah. So for me, taking notes without typing is kind of a new thing.
Is it really?
It is.
But I mean, you use an Apple Pencil, right? Like, do you actually in meetings and stuff like use it as a note taker?
Yeah. So essentially, if I pulled up my good notes right now, and this is one of the reasons why, one of the reasons why I really enjoy GoodNotes.
Okay.
Is you can download templates, like page templates. So I have 2 workbooks for work. So I have one just for like my general notes I take on my desk day to day, and then I have one for meetings. But the meetings one, I have a template on there where it has like dividers, right? So I have one for topic, one for dates, one for, a section for attendees, and then a section for notes. So I could write down who attended the meeting, what notes from the meeting, so on and so forth. And it
is GoodNote. Is it iOS only? Right?
It is iOS only, so that's lame. That's why I'm looking for for an alternative, which I'm hoping OneNote may do the trick.
Maybe OneNote might be the way. I mean, I know they have the stylus support and everything in OneNote, so it might be all right. They do. It might be your only option, like the only good option there. I don't know. GoodNotes, like, because I think I have GoodNotes on the iPad. Yeah, it's fantastic. Why don't they?
$7.99 one-time fee. It's one of the best $8 you'll ever spend if you have an Apple Pencil and an iPad.
It's like an essential app.
It is.
I don't know why they don't port it. Like, give me a port, dude. Give me, like, make it multi-platform. Like, I don't want to, if I'm on, Android, I want to be able to access my notes, right?
I agree.
Yeah, kind of a shame, but, whatever. Maybe it's just like, maybe the, I guess when you're designing iOS apps, maybe they're just so integrated in whatever tools Apple provides to them that they can't really port it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's probably the case. But yeah, interesting that you're getting the Z Fold, man. I mean, I know I'm excited about it. Actually, at this point, it's funny because I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting it. And then you were like, no, I'm not getting it, dude. And now you're more excited than I am, dude.
I just got 2 chargers in today. They're on my desk. I have the watch on pre-order and the phone on pre-order and 2 cases. Yeah. Actually, one of the cases shipped already.
Yeah. So, once we get these puppies in hand, we'll go over them a little bit more, and I'll definitely ask some questions on the podcast about the watch, because I want to know if the watch is good, dude.
I mean, I was hypercritical about the last one. I think I lasted a week with it. So.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of funny. And you went with other watches too. I think you had a Belkin watch at one point.
I had a Garmin.
Oh, a Garmin, sorry.
Which I loved, by the way. The Garmin is fantastic. Like if you go into a smartwatch purchase and you know what you're getting with the Garmin, it's a stellar product. Like, don't expect full smartwatch functionality, but just expect like this rugged beast mode, multiple week battery life.
It's a tool.
Banger.
Yeah. 100%. All right, yeah. So I mean, any last things about the Fold, dude? We can move on to Windows 11. So,
I mean, up until my tracking updates, I think we'll be.
Yeah, I think I'll get mine before you, which is funny.
I think so.
You should have just held the pre-order.
I should have. Not smart.
Not smart. So, next topic is Windows 11. Just general discussion. I know. I remember seeing news about Windows 11, and I was personally surprised. I
think everyone was surprised. Coming off of that announcement like 4 or 5 years ago, where they said that Windows 10 would be the last
version of Windows.
Right.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, and here we are. And I'm not like super shocked, but like, because it's a thing that you could kind of expect Microsoft to do, but it's just like. Do you really expect people to pay for operating systems at this point? I mean, obviously they offer free.
You pay for Windows 10, so
it's true.
So I think the pricing model is probably not going to change. I think people are going to get their free upgrade.
Yeah, 100%.
They're still going to sell licenses. I mean they
have enterprise customers, and obviously you can make bank off of enterprise customers.
Well, they're also the only dog in town right now, right?
When
it comes to market share, my mom isn't going to go out and buy a Linux machine
or a Chromebook or maybe a Chromebook, but they're cheaper than like if you want like Windows is Windows, right?
Right.
So
if you're
obviously,
a PC gamer, you're buying a copy of Windows.
Yeah, you're gonna have Windows, but people run freaking unlicensed copies. You know what I'm saying? And they don't really stop you. Like I don't know if Windows 11 will change their tune on that, but like they don't really stop you from running unlicensed copies.
No,
you can just. I mean, it's in the bottom of your screen. You need.
They also don't stop you from selling pack licensing to individuals. So you may find some.
That's where you get the mega cheap ones that are kind of they're pack licenses, and they're not really like designed for that purpose.
But they work fine. I mean, I have a pack license on my desktop.
Do you really?
Yeah, dude. It was a subreddit that sells pack licenses for $35.
There you go.
And it's a fully authenticated, fully validated Windows Now 11 Pro key.
Yeah, I bought 2 copies of Windows 10 Pro, one for my workstation and then one for my server, and I've been running on them ever since. And I really needed Pro because if you want to use Hyper-V, which is Microsoft's VMs,
joining the domains.
Yeah, if you want to do cool stuff like that, you need the Pro. And, as a kind of an enterprise guy myself, like I wanted those enterprise features. So needed the Pro. But like, and also there was a thing back in the day, and I know we're talking about Windows 10 and it's supposed to be 11, but back in the day, if you wanted to if you want to configure how Windows updates work, you had to be on the Pro.
Really?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
It was like when it first came out. I don't know if it's
going back even farther than that. Wasn't there a time when you were limited to 4 gigs of RAM?
Dude, I hope not.
I know that there was like a 32 and 64 gig limitation around.
If you're a 32-bit operating system, maybe. Okay, so back to Windows 11. Okay, not to ramble on Windows 10. So Windows 11, you're actually running it, right?
I am running it, and you may see a hard cut transition here because Windows 11 is pretty buggy. So essentially, if I open any app that uses G-Sync, my Camlink 4K will freeze the app that the feed is coming from.
That's
kind of annoying, but we just discovered that now while we were talking about Windows 11.
Yeah, Windows 11 bugs, dude. It's not ready for prime time. That's why it's in testing.
Little pet peeves I have with it. I'm not going to do it because I'm afraid to touch it right now. But if you Alt-Tab on Windows 11, the entire screen gets like a blur on it, so you can no longer see your desktop. That's a big problem for me. That's terrible,
annoying, dude.
I'm also a taskbar to the left kind of guy because you obviously have more horizontal real estate than vertical real estate. on a monitor, and you cannot move it from the bottom on Windows 11. Kind of a
that's going to make
me.
people pissed. Like, first off, the taskbar looks weird anyway. Like, it's got the icon centered, which, I mean, I say weird. So, I could get used to it.
So
I'm already used to it on the Mac.
You can right-click on the taskbar and move it back to the left if you want a more traditional Windows layout.
Yeah.
But as someone who's a Mac guy, the center thing kind of feels like home to me.
Yeah.
So like that's not a big deal. But
I'm gonna.
I wish I could move it to the left.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try and like find a good screenshot here, but like as a Mac guy myself, like it's not even okay. So I have a screenshot here. So is this kind of what it looks like out of the box?
That's exactly what it looks like.
So what am I looking at here? Is this a search thing that's popped up?
No, that's your start menu. That's your start menu.
Oh my! Oh yeah, he's clicked on it. So okay, so it looks pretty clean. I mean, I like it.
It looks really nice. The Alt tab is miserable. I will say the best feature, if you ever use multiple desktops like Mission Control and stuff in Mac, that is literally how it works in Windows. They Control C, Control V to the multiple.
So you can can you slide through them like pages almost? Like
here, I'll show you.
Because I personally, I do the same thing. Like I really like how Mac OS handles multi-window.
Same thing.
Okay, so he's sending me an image. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. I gotta download it first, and 1 second. But yeah, so like, if it works the same, I mean that's amazing because I actually
that's a huge that's a huge push in the right direction.
Yeah, I super enjoy that.
Interestingly enough, if anyone is on the latest content update for Windows 10, you may have noticed that they added a little convenient weather widget in your taskbar and your task tray. That's gone in Windows 11. So
oh man, that's hilarious.
So that lasted all of 6 months.
Yeah, it's like, here's a cool feature. Psych. Don't get used to it. So what I'm looking at here is the picture you sent me. So can I just drag stuff onto new desktop and it be in there?
Yeah. Or let me try it out. Let's see. Yes, you can.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Can.
Nice. That's kind of the intuitive thing, right?
Yeah.
I really like when you add intuitive features. Like, I'm all about that. Can you do like in one of my favorite parts about macOS is having a full screen app. Like if I full screen something, it makes it its own sort of tab, right? Does Windows 11
it doesn't do that by default. It doesn't do that.
So I would have to like pull it into a new desktop, full screen it, and then that's kind of a two-step process, whereas like it's kind of a one-step on macOS. I wonder if you can like tune it to like be similar. Probably not. That's kind of, Windows isn't really going to work that way, I don't think, out of the box. But it'd be cool if you could do something like right click on like the minimize maximize square and then be able to like say send to new desktop full screen or something like that. Like, why not do that?
Yeah, so I just sent you a full image of like the multi-window UI.
Okay.
And then it basically takes snapshots of all of your current open windows, and I could just drag them down to desktop too, and then they'll be on desktop too.
All right, so looking at the image you sent, so is this when you alt tab then?
No, this is when I click on the multi-window icon.
Okay, so there's an icon for it.
Yeah.
Right?
If you pull up that original one you had, it's the one to the right of the search.
Oh, I already got rid of that. But yeah, I overwritten it. But yeah, I mean, this looks pretty clean though. I'm happy with their aesthetic. I think Windows 11 looks very clean. And like that to me, that's a pleasure. Like I love the minimalist kind of clean, streamlined look. And I think that's where Windows 11 lives. So
it's very clean looking. It's very clean.
But like,
looking.
what in terms of features are we really getting out of? Are we getting a new DirectX now?
We are getting a new DirectX. We are getting secure enclave hardware support.
Okay.
We are getting. I think it's like more based for unification between Windows, LOL Windows Phone, but more importantly, there'll be more unification with Xbox.
That's cool. I mean,
here's a really good example, like a really, really good example. So in the latest developer preview for the Xbox One, the Edge browser that is going on Xbox Series One is literally the same one that's on Windows 11. And
okay, cool. It'll be a full-featured web browser.
Yeah, what's really interesting is I was on the subreddit before of someone who was running the insider beta.
Yeah.
And all of the same instruction sets work. So someone actually went out to xCloud and played an xCloud game in Edge browser on their Xbox.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, wow. I mean, that just goes to show, like, this isn't a stripped down version. That's pretty impressive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure that if that's the case, that means you could probably run extensions or
could,
plugins. I wonder.
I don't know, like what function, like the backend functionality would definitely be there, right? But I can't tell
whether
you
or not they let you. That's another
right,
thing.
Right.
Because oh my god, you know what's funny though? This is off topic a little bit, but typically browsers are a big like vulnerability for consoles. Because there's so many.
Are you going back to PS3 when that's why PlayStation got rid of the browser?
Yeah, that could be one example. Because like a lot of compromises on these platforms have been done through the browser, like to get root access. So you know, to see Microsoft flex a little bit on their, it's really like their UAP. What is it called? Like where they have their apps sandboxed so well that like they're not worried about it, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the things that they're like, that's where Microsoft lives, right? Like
UWP, is that what it is? Unified Windows Platform or something? Yeah. So like their apps are basically like super sandboxed and like isolated. They probably like, we locked it down, dude. Like you don't got to worry about that.
Yeah, we'll see. For anyone who's not really familiar with that, Microsoft is really good at compartmentalization.
Yeah, they are.
And it's
nowadays
Microsoft, you know, using what they know to make a better product, in my opinion. Because I don't know, like there's probably a lot of people out there who realistically probably have a phone and maybe a console and don't have a computer or a tablet.
Yeah.
So to have a full browser that's not on their phone is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. No, I'm all about it, and I think that you can use like keyboard and mouse on these consoles, right?
You can.
So I mean, shit, it's like a PC, dude. It's like
there's
a PC.
even some games that allow keyboard and mouse on Series X,
That's
like
hilarious,
Warzone. Warzone allows keyboard and mouse on, keyboard and mouse on Series X.
That's pretty cool.
I believe Halo Master Chief Collection also allows keyboard and mouse on.
You're kidding, dude.
No,
that's unreal. If so,
but then you get auto looped into the PC only group. So
well, that's still cool. That's still cool as hell. Yeah. You know, if they do that, that's awesome. So like, you know, back to Windows 11 though, like it's kind of interesting. How are you going to incentivize people to upgrade? I just don't know.
I think for a lot of people, it's going to be the DirectX.
If you want new DirectX, if you want the AAA games that use the new DirectX, you're going to have to upgrade. That's what happened with Windows 10.
Right.
Because DirectX, was it 11 or 12 that launched with Windows 10? I forget, but they definitely had a new DirectX, and if you wanted to play the new games on it, you had to upgrade.
It's also a totally new aesthetic. Like
it looks good. I want to upgrade. Like I've always been one to upgrade to the latest Windows.
There's one that Eric is gonna love.
Yeah.
I just sent him the new aesthetic. He's gonna love.
Oh, dude, hold on. Let me... God. Oh, he's making fun of me. Hold on. Let me download it and show.
There you go, dude.
So we actually were. He was making fun of me the other day about this, but basically, he's making fun of the rounded corners. So, like, he was saying, like, how he loves rounded corners on all the new things. You know, the new fold, the multi-window, the multi-app, multi-window thing. They rounded all the corners, you know, made it very clean looking. And I basically was like, you know, was that necessary, dude? Like, did I really... I just felt like
missed the boat on that aesthetic.
I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I was just like, is that really a thing I should give a crap about? But like, I do agree that I like the rounded aesthetic on things.
It's nice. It's nice.
I was saying to him, I was like, you know, is our next computer monitor gonna have fucking built-in rounded corners? Like, come on.
Well,
you know what I mean?
The iPad is rounded corners. The design aesthetic in Mac OS is round.
Yeah.
I actually run a third-party application that I saw Quinn from Snazzy Labs recommend that turns off the pixels on the corners of your MacBook to the same radius as the Mac OS apps, and it looks so clean. It looks so good. The screens in our Tesla have hidden pixels in the corners to make them look more round. It just kind of it just seems the way, you know, design language is going. And
dude, you're gonna be going to like the AMC theater, dude. You're gonna have like rounded corner fucking movies, dude. Yeah.
I don't know if we'll go that far, but like if you think of like if you think of it in terms of like a user-based user application, you know, like those are wasted pixels anyway. So
I was all about like the not to say bubbly UI, but like I've always liked it. There was a phone I think that came out. What was it? I think it was called like the Palm Pre or some shit, and it had like a bubbly. It had like a more like bubbly UI. I think it was like a custom. Damn, dude, I don't know if it was
custom bubbles, dude,
but it kind of looked more rounded than a lot of other devices. Like it kind of had that aesthetic. Right, actually, I'm gonna pull it up, dude. I have a picture. So look at this real quick, dude. So this is that, but like obviously old as crap. But like, do you see how they do that, right? Like everything's rounded. This was my first
round screen.
Look, they were very
progressive,
dude. Like these guys were ahead of their time, dude. Like other than the old-fashioned icons, like they had it on lock. Like the Palm Pre did it first in my eyes. Like the first time I've really ever seen it done at that level.
Like what do they say about fashion? Like how things come back in style and how fashion repeats itself. You know, there was a time where like this like rough angular curves were in, right? And now we're coming back to like those smooth round boys.
Yeah. So like I'm a fan of the round stuff, but like so Windows 11, you know, they're taking all the new. It's funny because they're kind of like forced to adopt like the Apple stuff. You know what I mean? It's kind of like look at how square Windows 10 is, right? Very square. I'd go as far as to say they, you know, everything about it is very boxy. So now they're kind of like going back and you know,
I mean, to that point, you know, what's going to get people to switch? I think design is probably one of them. You know, right, wrong, or indifferent. If they like it or don't, it's a change. You know, if you wake up every morning and see the same operating system for 5+ years, to have a facelift on what you use every day could be exciting, and it could be a reason enough for people to download it.
You know, we're in the minority, dude. You know what I've noticed? Non-tech people don't like change, dude.
Right.
Like, look how long it took people to get off of Windows 7 as an example. You know, it's like once they get used to something, whenever like Microsoft comes in, it's like, hey, you know that way you're used to doing things? How about you do it this way? To this day, there's still some things that I'll go to like the OG like management stuff. Like for example, like sound control panel. Who uses the Windows settings to adjust their sound control? I still don't. Like, to this day.
I remember when Windows 10 first came out. Yeah. And I tried to change my DNS on my computer. And that was like the hardest thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to change my DNS and set a static IP because I saw them in both places.
Right.
And it was mind-numbingly difficult.
It's like, dude, you used to be able to go control panel and then like go to network connections and then just bam, you're adjusting it. Now it's like they have like a settings menu for networking, but you can't do everything you want in there, so you got to actually open up network connections in some other backwards way. You know what I mean? Like they've gone.
And what's really bizarre, not to cut you off on that, but still to this day, the design language in Windows 10 isn't consistent through the whole UI. Because when you go to that old school control panel to get to where you need to go, it's still it like opens up in a Windows 7 window.
I know. It's true. Well, that's the problem with Windows is they have all this legacy baggage holding them back from making like a unified experience, and that's what sucks. You know, because like what it is like it's kind of like a shell on top of a shell on top of a shell at this point. How is Windows 11, dude? Like,
it's funny you mentioned that because I watched a YouTube documentary maybe about 2 months ago, and they were talking about like how Windows is basically the worst spaghetti code ever. Like there was apparently a Windows source code leak of Windows 7 maybe a couple of years ago, and like it became a meme of how patched together Windows was as an operating system.
Right.
Now I can't say the same if that's the case for Windows 11. because the design so far from what I've seen seems pretty consistent. But I can tell you, just going back to like the old networking screen. No. See, it's brand new on Windows 10. Yeah. So
okay. So like on Windows 11, you mean?
Yeah.
So like, can you actually get to any of the old panels, like control panel, like sound control panel? Like, do they have that Windows 7?
You can, but the design language is consistent.
Are you kidding? So like, can you do me a favor and just like open, like show me?
There you go.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna send me. Okay. Wow. What am I looking at here? So I'm gonna. So okay. I'm looking at. What am I looking at? Is this like your network and sharing center? Is this like your network connections?
That's just right clicking on the little network icon, the task tray.
Wow, this is so much more useful. So
yeah,
Ethernet. Yeah. So if you click on that, can you like adjust your adapter settings or anything?
That is the second screenshot I sent. If you want to pull it up, like I said, it's just internal IP, so it's nothing.
Yeah. Okay. So
nothing major.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Yeah, internal IP is not a problem. Okay, let me throw it up. Boop. Okay, so this was okay, and you can edit everything. So you can change your.
Right from
this
here.
Is good. So this is already a way better.
Yeah.
Like that's what I wanted out of Windows 10. Like if you're gonna keep this legacy stuff, like build a unified shell around it. Like you have the ability to do that. I know you can.
And then because you asked, there's the now new volume mixer that follows the design language.
Are you kidding me? This looks so good.
Yeah.
Hold on, guys. This looks so clean. Like I'm super happy with this. This is the new volume mixer, and I know for just the listeners out there, like this does not look like Windows 7. This looks like a clean. I'm kind of, these corners are a little sharp. Actually, are they rounded? Are these rounded?
Yeah, they are.
Oh my God, they are. Look at that round, dude.
Let me show you the sound settings. Dude, this is exciting stuff, isn't it?
Honestly, this is way better of a topic than I thought. Like I didn't expect to see these changes. I thought like you would be, much in the way of Windows 10, you don't really have like significant UI.
Which comes back full circle, right? So like when you see these changes, it kind of makes sense, right? It kind of makes sense why they wanted to say,
I'm excited about it now. Like before I was like, okay, well, dude, like I've seen Microsoft, dude. I know what you're going to do. It's going to suck. But like this actually gets me hyped for it. Like I'm bored with Windows. Like I want it. Mac OS is my preferred operating system.
Same.
I really like using it. From a usability perspective, it's just clean. It's consistent, and I like it a lot. But like this is going to go a long way for me. Like to use Windows and just have an enjoyable time with it. As somebody that uses Windows a lot at work, I'm kind of like done with it, dude. I'm kind of more angry at Windows than I am happy with Windows now. So like, I kind of use Mac OS to get away from it. Okay, so you just sent me another. This is like just right clicking, right?
That's just right click on the desktop.
Look at the little icons. Like they're all like really nice looking. Yeah, it's all rounded. Like I don't know. I can get behind this. I didn't think I'd be as hyped, dude. Like this is good.
Nice. It's really nice.
So, I'll give it to Microsoft, dude. They might be able to pull off, like, this might be a reason to upgrade for me if they can fix some of the Windows 10 gripes I have. And not to spend too much longer on this topic, but like,
wait till you see this, dude. Wait till you see this, because I was dumbfounded by this.
Oh, wait a minute. You're sending me a display thing, so let me download
Look at what it tells you for peak brightness.
Wait a minute, dude. I think I was just about to mention this too. Hold on. So we're looking at his display information. Wait a minute. It says peak brightness 1500 nits.
Yeah.
Is it? How does it know?
I don't know.
But that's
really helpful.
Yeah, color space HDR. So this is what I was gonna say, guys. Like, it even says HDR certification. This is unreal, guys. Windows HDR support is one of the big downsides for me about Windows 10. I feel like it could be better. And like, this is encouraging. Like if they can fix how HDR works on Windows 10, I think that'll be really nice. So the fact that they're really caring about HDR on, in their interface, like that's impressive. If you can figure out peak brightness, because this is one of the problems with HDR. This could be a whole segment in and of itself, HDR, but like most HDR content, like HDR content on Windows 10 has no clue what kind of HDR display you have. It's just assuming. Right. This is why you have to calibrate for every single game that you play and hope that each game has good calibration tools to get good HDR experience. There's so many bad HDR experiences out there where it's not even worth using it in some cases. I know Red Dead Redemption 2 was one of those. It might be okay now, but like
what's it, Outsiders? Outsiders you gotta turn HDR off on as well.
That's sad. So what we want to see is OS level support for HDR. Maybe in the next DirectX they can integrate that with Windows 11 and have a really good HDR experience. Because I don't think I'm alone here in saying that HDR is like a significant boon to gaming. I absolutely love HDR. I think it's like one of the coolest things coming out of display technologies in the past 10 years. The first time I got flashbanged, like 1,000 nits peak brightness in Call of Duty, like that was it, dude. I was like, I'm sold on HDR. So yeah, Windows 11, dude. I'm really excited to see, like, you know, if they can pull it off, dude. Like, I'm hyped for it now.
It'll be exciting.
So let's go ahead and move on to Cyberpunk 2077. Do you remember that game, Din?
I do.
Did you play that game, Din?
I did play that game.
Did you?
Completion.
You did. I didn't actually beat it. I got too close to the end and then I stopped.
This is a spoiler-free video, by the way.
Yeah.
We just want to briefly touch on the fact that it was recently in the bargain bin for $10. A little bit, almost year to date, a year after coming out, and
$10, dude. You see games that never go on sale. Like, look at like all the Call of Duties and stuff.
Look at anything Nintendo makes.
Yeah, especially good point, dude. If you want like Super Mario Odyssey today, like you're probably still paying like $60, right?
Yeah.
So like, well, Nintendo's notorious. They never really go on major sale, but to see the game like that everybody was like mega hyped on, like this game should still be like $50.
Yeah, and
damn. Like
we just want to touch on this. Dude. Yeah, like we just want to touch on this briefly because it was kind of a shocker to me.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, you know, this game was like, I need to build a new computer. I need to, you know, be ready for when this game comes out.
Yeah.
And I was ready. The Cyberpunk was not ready.
No, it wasn't.
You know,
it wasn't ready, dude. You know, it's disappointing. This was supposed to be like our Can It Run Crisis type of game. Like this was supposed to be the benchmark. Nothing else comes close. Like full ray tracing support. Fucking, we wanted to play 4K HDR, high refresh, fucking beautiful gaming experience, top of the line gaming experience. Get your RTX 3090 out because you're gonna need it experience. Like, and it kind of fell flat, dude. Like, tell me, like, you know, did you have as many issues as maybe some of the console people did? Because that was where it was maybe worse.
We probably didn't have as many issues. Just for, you know, point of reference. Eric has a Zen 3 processor and a 3080. I have a Zen 2 processor and a 3090, all underwater. It's a 3090 Strix with EVGA Kingpin BIOS, so I have no power limit on my graphics card. And I thought the game ran well. Yeah. But again, I am very, very, very small minority. Yeah. Where I did have problems was, and I'll try to keep this as vague as possible, but there is a scene where you have to fight someone who comes up an elevator, and my save point where it saved me, every time I would load in, the NPC I had to fight would just fall through the elevator, and I couldn't progress the game.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I basically had to go back about 2 hours after my frustration levels were, you know, through the roof. I put the game down for a couple months, and I eventually came back and beat it. But as far as like AI bugs and bugs where things would just fall through the earth, or even combat, like the combat, it was brainless combat because the AI was non-existent.
No,
you know,
it should have been way better.
And it sucks because the world design was so good.
It was so good. Like some of the scenes in that game are breathtaking, literally. You know, it's really like you can tell there's been some love and care put in key parts of this game. Yeah, and so like I respect it for that. Like absolutely. You know, and I actually enjoyed a lot of my playtime with the game. Same. You know, as PC gamers, we're fortunate because we had the least buggy version, and we had top tier PCs. So we had basically the best chance possible to play it without issues. And I had issues. I remember this one time I went and grabbed a guy in the game, and like when I grabbed him, like I kind of like flew off into the air. Like it was hilarious. And I hit a building and then fell and died. And I was like, okay, that's a thing.
So I guess what we're getting at is like the game inherently has problems.
It does.
So when you compound that with the majority of people who are probably playing it on console, where from my understanding the game ran at like a solid 17 FPS on the PlayStation 4, I could see why it's in the bargain bin.
Yeah, I mean that's why, you know, Sony, you know, they took it off their store on their off their eShop or whatever, which is kind of a world first for them to do that. And you know, and another world first is the refunds. Like they typically have a 0 refund policy, but like, you know, with Cyberpunk, it was kind of a big exception to that. You know, and to see them, to see the backlash, to see, you know, all the, especially because they were trying to get this game on last gen consoles. Like, are you kidding me? It ran so bad. Like, how did you put a game out like this? You know, I'm not surprised to see it for $10 at Best Buy.
Right. And now it's ironic because, like what you said, right? Like, no one's gonna trust CD Projekt Red again. Like the damage done to their reputation is awful, and that sucks coming off of The Witcher 3.
Yeah. So, and we just got done. Like, it's hard to quantify reputation and like your brand, but like. They really tarnished it with this move. The management that saw this game and was like, we're putting this out, shocking. Shocking, absolutely shocking. It was not ready on the consoles.
I think it really shows you, too, that pushing a game out to get it out the door is not the right move.
No.
And we should learn from this as gamers that a major red flag is when companies put a review embargo on set to launch day. Yeah. Because that's what CD Projekt did with Cyberpunk. Because they knew that if anyone reviewed this game, it would get a 6 out of like 20.
Which is very, like, they were banking on like those pre-orders. They were banking on those like day one sales. They didn't want to impact that stuff. They knew it was going to come out. The backlash was going to come out. And to get ahead of that, they were like, no, embargo dates the day of launch.
Yeah.
So that's ridiculous. That's a huge red flag. Nobody should pre-order games realistically.
Right. I still do.
I still do too. I'm a hypocrite.
Say, not as I do.
Yeah, 100%. Like you know, whenever we pre-order a game, we kind of know we're rolling the dice on it to a degree. And we definitely do. Like I've made dumb gaming decisions in my day. Like for example, Star Citizen, like I feel like I was pretty dumb to even put money into that.
I bought a boat or a ship in that. A boat, dude.
Yeah, a boat, dude.
No,
sail the seven.
I bought a ship in Star Citizen.
Yeah,
I think it was like a $300 ship.
Yeah, same here, dude.
I'll never see it. I forgot what I bought. Dude.
I think I got like a $350.
I forgot what I bought.
Fucking Phoenix or whatever the hell it is. Constellation Phoenix is what I got, actually.
At least you remember.
Well, you know, because I did download and play around with it for a little bit before they came out with whatever they got now for it. But it's like not even a game, dude. Like,
no.
I follow. It's still a tech demo. It's still like, you know, they're adding stuff, but it's like it's been how many years now, and that's been the biggest scam in gaming. Like, so like to see CD Projekt Red like you know really stoop to like their freaking level, it's kind of a shame. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Anyway, guys, I think that's been it for episode 3 of the Technaesthetic podcast. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming, and you know, just
this was a fun episode.
Fun episode, lots of topics this episode, and if you want to leave us feedback or anything, check out technaesthetic.com and shoot us an email. You know, we're interested in your feedback and any kind of topic suggestions. Just leave them there as well. So see you guys next week on the Technaesthetic podcast, and yeah, it's been a good one.
Have a good one.